I was going through our bulletin to see what was going on today. And I found a yellow insert. You may want to pull your yellow insert out. On one side it says 2012 Youth Summer Camp, but on the other side it says congratulations 2012 graduates. And these are your graduates. See, you are the family member of these folks. And I was going down the list, and just to mention a couple at random. Anthony Baker with his high school diploma. Dalton Harris, I can't believe he's graduated kindergarten. He's growing so fast. Sebastian McCarty, middle school. Taylor McCarty, elementary school. Oh. Anyway, they're all listed on there, and I want to acknowledge our graduates. So if you are a graduate of preschool, kindergarten, grade school, middle school, high school, junior college, or college, would you just please stand so we can acknowledge you today? Go ahead, McCartys. And the families, I've been thinking about the families. Maybe you've seen the emails that have gone back and forth from the son who is in college to his father, and then the reply. And the email from the son was just talking about college life, but every place there was an S in the email, he'd taken that out and put a $sign. And the father sent a reply email, and he talked about things, I'm glad you're doing well in economics and all these other things, but every time there was an N-O in a word, he capitalized it. Well, I know as family that you truly have supported the graduates, and I want to acknowledge you, the family of our graduates. So if you have someone who graduated, would you please stand so that we can support you today? And we're having a celebration of graduates downstairs after the service. We have some very special cake that's been ordered for you, the graduates who are here, for the YOU graduates. So please plan on joining us downstairs. Okay, USA Today from June 14th. Fatherhood could alter men's behavior. Many studies in the past decade have shown that a father's involvement can improve a child's well-being. Newer research finds that becoming a father affects the men too. We're finding that fatherhood does have mental health, well-being, and actual physical health benefits, says this new study. It prompts them to be more responsible and become more mature. My wife does argue with that one, but and to have more positive attachments and relationships. So today is Father's Day, and we want to acknowledge fathers. Gosh, fathers come in all sizes and shapes and descriptions, and sometimes that person who supported you is not literally a father. It may be a grandfather or an uncle, a grandparent, a godparent, or just a really, really close friend. Fathers aren't always male anymore either, but if you're a father, we want to acknowledge you today. So would you please stand so we can acknowledge all the fathers here today. And remain standing, remain standing. And those of you who are grandfathers, would you please remain standing? Any grandfathers? Yes, grandfathers. How about great-grandfathers? Do we have any great-grandfathers here today? Any great-great-grandfathers? Great-great-grandfather. Well, I am ready for Father's Day. I have my Father's Day tie. It's got my picture of my grandson just all over it. So yeah, I thought I'd wear my Father's Day tie today. I was thinking about Father's Day and the gifts I've received for Father's Day, and I pulled some of them together. One year the whole family went together and they bought me a piece of gold, and that's very pretty and very shiny. But I was thinking about those gifts that really have the most meaning for me. And so I thought I'd share just a couple of them with you. First of all, there's the infamous mug Any of you fathers gotten the mug? The one says University of Missouri, Kansas City, Dad. So yeah. The other one's got, my grandson's name is Dorian. You'll hear a lot about him today, but it's got Dorian's picture everywhere on this mug. I was talking to one of our congregants, Joyce Harrow, before the service, and she was saying that her granddaughter had given her a mug with her granddaughter's picture on it, and her granddaughter lives in Montana. But when she talks to her granddaughter, she says, you know, I spend every morning with you, having coffee. I thought, you know, how precious is that? My daughter, one year, gosh, about 20 years ago, gave me some cards. And it says, Daddy's Little Helper on it. And they're just index cards. And each one has a picture and a little statement on it. And this one says, we called her KB. One free time for KB to do the dishes. So, you know, I'd give her the card and she would do the dishes. One free walking the dog outing from KB. One free time for KB to do laundry. One free time for KB to help wash the car. One free time for KB to rake leaves, sweep off the porch. I pulled out the help washing the car a couple weeks ago, and she told me the cards had expired. Every year for Father's Day or my birthday, I have my grandson draw me a picture, and we put it on art canvas. So I just have these pictures, you know, that he drew at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And when he was 3 and 4, he was into robots, and he just drew pictures of robots, as boys that age will do. And so at 5, I said, Dorian, would you draw me a picture? And he said, yes. And so he drew it, and I got it. And it's a picture of me with stripes. I said, Dorian, why do I have all these stripes? And he said, well, Grandpa, you love striped socks. Well, I don't own a pair of striped socks. But it got something stirring in my head. And I said, Dorian, why don't you and I go to the mall? So we went to the mall. You can imagine the reaction from sales clerks as I go up to them and say, you know, I need the ugliest striped socks you have, and you know, several places that we don't sell ugly socks, sir. They were a little bit offended that I would even ask such a thing. But we finally found one store, and they said, oh, we've got them. We've got them. And so we bought a whole bunch of striped socks. I don't know how well you can see these out there, but they're pretty wild and crazy striped socks. So during the week, you can ask the staff, I wear my striped socks because my grandson picked them out. My favorite, though, they didn't have striped socks, but we went in and they had these bright red socks with these yellow flames coming out of them and robots on them. Oh, yeah. Happy Father's Day. You know, for all you fathers, I just want you to know when you leave today, we do have a special gift. Our Youth and Family Ministries have created a special card, a Father's Day card for each of you, and they're all hand done. So each of you fathers will be getting one of those when you leave today. My family asked me what I wanted for Father's Day. So I started wondering. What does it mean to be a father? And I went on the internet and lists all those wonderful attributes of fathers, and I discovered I only had a couple of them, so I didn't want to talk about those today. I did find a Father's Day card that a daughter gave to her father, and I thought I'd share that with you. On the outside of the card it said, things my dad would never say. And you open it up and it said, can you turn up that music? Go ahead, take my truck, and here's $50 for gas. I love your tattoo. Why don't we both go get one? And here, you take the remote. You know, I think that being a father or a grandfather just brings with it certain responsibilities. And especially a grandfather. You know, being a grandfather is just so wonderful. Not the pressure you have of being a father. And so I've taken on the responsibility of teaching my grandson things that other people won't teach him. I have taught him things such that if he takes a straw and puts it in his milk and blows, he'll have milk bubbles all over the countertop. And, you know, those are the kinds of things that kids need to learn. I have taught him as a boy, if he has long sleeves, he doesn't need a handkerchief. I have taught him that if he catches a frog in the backyard, the first place he should go is run in and show it to his mother, you know. Yeah. I taught him that nothing is as sweet as going out into the yard and picking dandelions, yellow dandelions, and bringing them to your mother and letting her put them in a vase. You know, how many of you have had bouquets of dandelions? Yeah, I've also taught him that when the dandelions go to seed, if you take those and you blow on them, you're going to have a lot more yellow dandelions next year. And the guy who lives next door doesn't have any dandelions. If the wind's just right, he's going to get a lot of dandelions next year too. So, you know, these are just the kinds of things that I have been teaching. My wife is not real happy with me when I teach him these things. So my family asked me what I wanted for Father's Day. And it got me wondering, and it got me remembering. And I remember when my daughter was born. We lived in southern Texas at the time, and it was November. It was very warm down there, as it often is in southern Texas. The whole neighborhood got in. It was a brand new neighborhood, brand new houses, and we all wanted fences, and we thought if we go in as a neighborhood, we could get a really good deal on the lumber. So we did that, and then all the neighbors got together and were building these fences around every house. And we went to the first house, and we dug the post holes and cut into the phone line, and went to the second house and called the phone company and built the fence. Went to the second house, dug in the post holes, the holes for it, and cut into the phone line. Went to the third house and called the phone. That happened all the way down. For every single house, we cut into that phone line. And our house was the last one. And we had to cut off some of the boards. So we put the table out, we brought the saw out. We needed some weight on the board in order to cut them. So we had Lita sit on the board, my wife, and we cut these boards down. Well, something must have been vibrating, something must have worked, because her water broke that night. And we went to the hospital and sat in the labor room where there were just cries of joy and excitement all around us. And I had taken the training. I knew the Lamaze training. And I'm sitting there, I'm going, breathe, 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 breathe. You know, and Alita's breathing, 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 breathing. And the doctor finally came in and said, well, I think we'll induce labor. And he looked at us and said, oh, no, we don't have to undo that. We're going to take you right to the delivery room. So I stood up. And you know us guys, we're strong. We can handle these kinds of things. So we're off to the delivery room, and the doctor turned to me and said, oh, husbands are not allowed in the delivery room. I said, oh, darn. And went back to the waiting room. It was quite a while ago. But I remember when the doctor came out, and then when I went in to see my daughter, and what a precious gift. Remember your child's baby. What a precious gift. You look into those eyes, you stroke the soft skin, those little fingers, the little toes. It's one of God's absolute most wonderful miracles on earth. You know, I have a brother with Down syndrome. And people will say that babies with Down syndrome don't look as perfect as other babies. And I'm here to tell you that they do. And that all babies, it doesn't matter what they're going through, are perfect, are absolutely perfect in every way. So my family asked me what I wanted for Father's Day. And I began to wonder. And I went back to when Jesus was a baby. And I was thinking about Joseph. And the wonder that Joseph must have had as he was holding Jesus Christ in his hand. The child of God, with no limitations, no limit on joy, no limit on love, no limit on strength and understanding. And I thought, if I was Joseph, what would I do holding the child of God? What would I say? How would I behave differently? Would it be more a fact of Jesus raising me than me raising Jesus? And you don't hear a lot about Jesus during that time. We know at the age of 12, he said he was about his Father's business. But, I just hope that he had a childhood where he could run and laugh and play. I don't know. But imagine holding a child of God. Well, my family asked me what I wanted for Father's Day. And I started thinking about Joseph and Jesus and this amazing relationship. Jesus is a child of God. And I remembered that we've been told that we are children of God, that we are created in God's image and God's likeness. And what if we really believed this? What if we really, truly believed that we were children of God? Jesus told us to become ye as little children, for such belongeth the kingdom of God. Think about it. What if we believed our children, our grandchildren, were the children of God? Imagine looking to your child's eyes. And as you looked into your child's eyes, you saw the eyes of God. Imagine what that must be like. You would see unlimited potential. You'd see unconditional love. It's interesting when you talk to people. How many of you have pets? Okay, I'm just interested. How many of you have dogs? And how many of you have cats? Okay. When you talk to people about their pets, you'll say, what is there about their pets that's so wonderful? And they will say, they are just absolutely unconditional love. When you come home, no matter what your day was like, you walk in that door, and that dog is there to greet you, and that dog is wagging its tail, and that dog will just lick you for all that dog is worth. Cats, maybe not so. But pets are unconditional love. What do we say about our children when we ask about our children? So my family asked me what I wanted for Father's Day. I was talking to somebody about babies, and I was thinking about babies, and I was thinking about the small children, the children as they're growing up, and the innocence to be found in children. My grandson every night goes to sleep with Bunny. And Dorian's afraid of insects and water. So Dorian right now is taking a class on insects, and he's taking swimming lessons. And the insect class goes all day, and they have a quiet time midday. He told me when he was 5 he would never have to have quiet time again. And he told me when I got to be 5 I wouldn't have to have quiet time either. But I sort of enjoy it. But he got to class the other day, and he turned to his mother and he said, Mommy, they have quiet time there. He said, Mommy, I need Bunny for quiet time. And just such innocence in these children. So I was talking to this woman about small children and babies, and she said, they are so cute, but they grow up. And I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about parenting, and I remembered the story in the Bible about parenting. It's a parable that we use all the time, the parable of the prodigal son. Here's a man who had 2 sons, and one of the sons just threw a fit. Went to his father and said, I want my inheritance now. I don't want to wait till after you're gone. I want it now. I want to go spend the inheritance right here, right now. And he threw such a fit that the father gave him the inheritance. And so the son went out, had just a blast, spending money on things he probably shouldn't have been spending money on and doing things he probably shouldn't have been doing. And soon all of his resources just ran out on him. And he had nowhere to go but home. And so he's going home, and I imagine his head was bowed. He was expecting to be put in timeout. He was expecting to be grounded. He was expecting that he'd have to go work at a fast food restaurant for the rest of his life. He was expecting his father to share lecture number 14 with him. And what happened? He sees his father, and his father just opens his arms and celebrates his homecoming. Now, I don't know if any of you have children left home and wanted to come back, and I can't even begin to imagine the family dynamics of that. I really don't want to be naive about things and say, well, we should always accept our children back. I know sometimes the loving thing is to say no. But I was thinking about, the celebration of life and the celebration of love, and how do we create a life of love? I read an interesting piece in the Course in Miracles that says, only love creates. Only love creates. Now think about that. I have really been pondering that. I was thinking about healing and wholeness. I was remembering Myrtle Fillmore, our co-founder's journey through her healing process. And you know how she healed herself? It was loving her body. I was thinking about abundance. And, many of us are looking for abundance in our lives. And abundance comes through divine love. Notice we take up a love offering here towards the end of the service. We don't take up a fear offering. It's a love offering because only love creates. And whatever it is we're looking for in our lives, only love creates. If you leave with nothing else today, just leave with those 3 words. Only love creates. We have a core values class going on right now. And this last Tuesday, we worked on the core value of love. And Megan, would you bring up the slide on our core value of love? It's the same one we opened the service with. But I was thinking about this core value and how strong and how powerful it is. And I'm going to ask you to affirm it with me again, together. We express unconditional love and inner quality everywhere and in everyone. And now I want you to look at those words, and I want you to take the word we out of it and put the word I in it. And let's affirm it together with the word I. Together? I express unconditional love and inner quality that sees good everywhere and in everyone. It's a powerful, powerful statement. Well, my family asked me what I wanted for Father's Day. And I thought about me. I thought about how my life might have been different if my parents, and I had a good childhood, if my parents had realized the unlimited potential that I had within myself, if they could look into my eyes and see the eyes of God. I say I had a good childhood, but I never remember my parents saying, I love you to me. And I wonder how my life would have been different if they just would have said that. I wonder about right now, about our lives right now. I wonder right now what would happen in my life if somebody just took my hands and looked into my eyes and said, I see the eyes of God. Just imagine looking into my eyes. I see the eyes of God. I see the eyes of God. Why don't you take a minute and just look at each other and just affirm to each other, I see the eyes of God. It's so much easier to see the eyes of God in others than it is in yourself. So I have something I want to share with you today. In your bulletin is a card. It says, I behold the Christ in you. It's a bigger card than we usually give you. Usually we give you sort of wallet-sized cards, but I wanted this one to be bigger because I wanted you to take this card and do something very special with it. I ask you to take this card today and that you tape it to a mirror. And I want you to look into that mirror, and I want you to look at that person in that mirror. I want you to look into that person's eyes, and I want you to say, I see the eyes of God. And watch as that person says the same thing back to you. I see the eyes of God. I want you to look in the mirror and just say, I behold the Christ in you. And just watch as that person speaks. You may not hear the words, but as that person says, I behold the Christ in you. It's a very simple card. It's a very simple thing to do. But I wonder how the world would change if we could really see the eyes of God, if we could really behold the Christ in everyone with whom we come in contact. Well, My family asked me what I wanted for Father's Day. And here's what I want. For my father, he spent last summer pretty much in the hospital, and his garden is his pride and joy. And his garden wasn't taken care of, so he had no vegetables and no flowers. So my desire for my father this year is that he just has abundant tomatoes and lettuce and potatoes and strawberries and raspberries and blueberries and beans, because he's growing all of that. That's what I want for my father for Father's Day. For Father's Day, I want my stepson to realize success like he has never experienced it before in his life. For Father's Day this year, I want my daughter to dream her dream and to truly allow it to manifest in her life. I want my son-in-law to know the absolute joy of fatherhood. I want my wife to live a life that is just joy-filled and that she can just relax into each and every experience that she has. My family asked me what I wanted for Father's Day. I want to get down on my knees, I want to open my arms, and I want my grandson to come running to me, and I just want to hug him. And I want to look in his eyes, and I want to see the eyes of God. How about you? What do you want for Father's Day?